L'Amour Media Versatility, we aim to provide comprehensive solutions to our clients. We have a team of experienced professionals who can help you with every aspect of your media needs. From documentation and marketing to promotion and more, we provide our clients with top-notch quality services. We understand that each client is unique and has specific needs. That's why our team works closely with you to understand your company and event goals and objectives. We are committed to providing the highest quality services in media and strive to exceed our clients' expectations. Our team is passionate about helping you reach your goals and making sure you get the best experience and results. If you're looking for a reliable business to help you with all your media needs, look no further than L'Amour Media Versatility. Contact us today to get started at 252-497-3817 or at www.lamour-photos.com.
Can't be scared when it goes down. Got a problem, tell me now. Only thing that's on my mind is who gonna run this town tonight. Who's gonna run this town tonight? We gonna run this town.
We are, yeah, I said it, we are. This is La Familia, all black everything. Black cars, all black everything. Black hair forever. What's up?
We gonna run this town tonight.
Black hair forever. Black cancer.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts and guests of Colorful Voices of Sisterhood are their own and do not represent L'Amour Media Versatility, that of any broadcast networks utilized, its advertisers, or sponsors. All content is subject to copyright and may not be reproduced in any form without prior written consent by L'Amour Media Versatility. The views and opinions expressed by the hosts and guests of Colorful Voices of Sisterhood are for general public information and entertainment purposes only.
Voices of Sisterhood. My name is Agnes Herman. Along with me is my co-hostess, Madame Raquel, Diana, and Fikia. And today, we have such a very, very special guest by the name of Miss Stacy Owens. And we'll go ahead and let her introduce herself.
Well, first of all, let me just start by saying thank you guys for this opportunity. Thank you for allowing me to come and share this story. But my name is Stacey Owens-Howard. I am the CEO and founder of Zeka School of Arts and Technology. I'm also a life coach, and I've done a few other things like in my spare time. I like to write my stories, so I'm an author. And I am also the founder of Georgetown High, a village-minded academy.
Nice.
Yes.
Welcome.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yes. So tell us about Zeka. What was the inspiration for Zeka?
Okay, so I haven't shared this story.
So we're the first.
Not the first, but it hasn't been shared a lot. So I'm going to tell you how Zeka started. Yes. So Zeka started from, it came from the experiences that I had with my son. So he's grown now, he's 30 now. But back when he was younger, he struggled in the traditional school system. He was that child who, he's always been musically inclined. He's always loved the arts. So his learning style was just different. And he was just very, everybody says that your child is a genius, right? We all say that about our kids.
Yes.
But when he was like 2, he was using big, massive words. And he was just doing a lot of stuff that allowed me to say, you know what, you're different. But once he entered into school, no one could see that genius side of him because they got stuck on the fact that he would move around a lot and had to stand up a lot. So they started labeling his genius with terms like ADHD and ODD and IED, intermittent explosive disorder. And so it made it very difficult for him to be successful in school. And so at that time, I always said if there was a place that allowed him to use that music that's in his head or use the art to express himself through learning, he would thrive. And at that time, we did not have such a place. And I was a teacher at that time. Okay. And I taught down in Jones County, and every day I was going to work doing these wonderful, great things for students in rural communities, and then coming home and watching my son struggle. And when I started working with colleagues in the area, and this is nothing bad to the Onslow County schools or anything, but at that time for my story, when I started sharing the learning style that he needed, I was hit with things like, there's too many kids in the class, we don't have time to do that. And so, I just started talking to God about it, and I was like, and I'm sorry if
That's
God
good.
offends anybody,
No.
but I just started talking to God about it, and I was like, how is it that I'm going down here to this county and I'm doing all these great things for kids? I was a national board certified teacher, so using the arts, making everything integrated, hands-on was things that I did. And I'm like, but I come home and my own child can't get this experience. And so God told me in a dream, create the space that doesn't exist. And so one night I had a dream.
like that. Create the space.
Create the space. And I had a dream one night, and clear as day, I can see I had 4 to 5 pillars of stone, and it had written on it this plan, right? And I saw it just as clear. And I woke up and I called my mother, and I was like, I had this weird dream last night. And she's like, take out a piece of paper and write down what you saw. And I did, and then when I saw it, I was like, I know, Lord, you don't want me to do this. I'm just a broke little teacher. I don't have any money. So I took it, I threw it up in the top of my closet, and I actually didn't touch it for about 5 years.
Wow.
And
That's a long time.
That's a long time. And I went off, and I was still teaching. Well, actually, I came out of teaching. I started working for the state as helping low performing schools as turnaround schools, and I was doing some other things, and I transitioned to Smart Start. I started working at Smart Start, learning how to work with students from birth to 5, and I was actually seeing at that time they were kicking a lot of 3-year-olds out of daycare centers because of their behaviors. And again, I started having that talk. I was like, Lord, what's wrong with the babies? Why we suspending and kicking kids out of child care centers at 3?
Yeah.
Like, we should be able to control the babies, right?
Yeah, I experienced that. So yeah, it's still this day.
Exactly.
It's still this day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And how it came out the closet is because I solicited the help of a behavior specialist, and we were just sitting down. We were getting ready to go in and do some training because I train teachers as well. So we were going in to do some training on behavior management. And I started sharing my story about my son, and she sat there and had a conversation with me as if it wasn't her. She was like, you've already been told what to do, Stacy. You just have to do it. And I was like, I only told my mama about this dream, and no one knows about this that's in my closet. But she spoke to me that day just like she knew what was on that paper. So I know that was God speaking through her to tell me to take a leap. And so that day, about 10, 11 years ago, I went home, pulled it out the closet, and even in our and in our meeting, she was like, let's name it. She was like, let's give this thing a name. And I was like, I don't know, because I didn't even tell you what this thing was. But we ended up coming up with the name Zeka because it was the first 4 letters of my son's name. His name is Zakari. So we took the Z-E-C and the A. His name is Z-E-C-H-A. We took the H out, we went to A. And then we was like, well, what are we going to say? And then we came up with 0 to 18 Education Concepts Academy. And so that's the name of the nonprofit. And long story short, I went home. I bought a $39 book from Books A Million of how to start a nonprofit. I sent out 10 letters to random people in the community. 7 people responded and said, I'll go on this journey with you. And 7 is the number of completion. And so that's how I started.
That's
So that dream, you just made it into reality. I mean, you set it aside for 5 years, and look at it now. It's going, it's moving.
It's moving.
It's moving. It just makes different.
Yes.
Actually, I looked up Zeka, and my belief, Zeka means that giving charity. And then I'm like, okay, what means in Zeka? I know, and my belief means that. Let me look it up. So in the Jewish, it means that God increase and do more and do more. And then that was one of the questions that I was trying to ask you where that came from, but you did say which is you giving, you still giving, and you open a lot of doors for people that struggle with their children. Still in these days, if children, you say from preschool, they don't really they will expel your child if it's not acting in different behavior. So sometimes.
Not acting like they're perceived the norm.
It's normal to the norm. So
and who created this?
So and how the teacher, I do understand when I send my children to school, I tell them the teacher to teach you, to discipline you when you're there. And sometimes the teacher also have her own life. They are, things is going on. So how can we balance as parents not the school expelling my children because they don't behave, but they have their own issues going on with them, with their human being. So how you guys work with children that you guys experience the same similar to what your son went through and now the school you guys teach, and how you guys handle that, not expelling?
Right. So we have taken that approach of several different ways. First, it starts with relationships. So I'm real keen on student-teacher relationships, teacher-parent relationships. You got to have a relationship and know what everybody is bringing to the table.
Yeah.
Because if I can relate to you, if I can understand you, I can be empathetic to your situation. I don't want you to be sympathetic to the situation, because then you're just going to make excuses for it. Right? So we can deal with anything we bring to the table if we understand it. Right? So it starts with relationships. And then the other thing we put in place is what we call the Zeka way. So we teach our kids three things that I want every child that walk into Zeka to understand. You got to know how to follow directions, and not from the standpoint of doing what somebody say because that's what they said to do, but understanding systems, because everything in the world is based off of a system, and every system have a set of directives that come to it. If you understand the system and can follow the system, you'll get to success faster. It will also save your life. We teach our kids that the consequence of not following directions for Black and brown children is death. And I know when I say that, it makes people cringe, but look, turn your TV on and look at the world.
That's true. It's reality.
Right. And so you have to know how to do that.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
That's good.
Right. So that's the first thing we want them to know and understand. And then the other one is be in control of your emotions at all times, because the emotions is attached to your brain. And so we don't teach kids that you can't be angry or can't be upset. But when you get angry, it will shut your brain off and you'll stop thinking. And so we tell kids it's usually the thing that you're going to do after you lost control of your emotion that's going to be the thing that's going to get you in trouble, more so than what you did to even get to this space. So you have to be in control of your emotions so that you can stay in a space to be able to have a critical thought.
Yes.
And then the third thing is always improve your academic ability or yourself in some way. Always look for, how do I be better today than I was yesterday?
Yes.
So, we do it in three folds. And that sort of gets you from suspension. We are a no suspension school. That's not to say that I haven't had to send kids. Because if you go to tier 3 type stuff, like if you hit the teacher, bring a weapon to school, that do anything that's legal, then there's some things that stop us from saying that I'm not going to suspend you. But we try to do things like, and this might be unorthodox for some of your visitors or listeners, but we do things like we have... our kids, they do chores. So if you get in trouble, you might see our kids cleaning the walls or doing things like that, because we know that if we send you home, yes, you have consequences.
Sometimes going home is what they want.
Right.
Yes.
So they have no consequences.
Yes.
Right.
So being able to do that actually teaches them
discipline.
And accountability.
Yeah, accountability.
That's
it.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, and I like your number 2 rules, because if you are going to let them, or if you are going to show to your student that you are weak, or things like that, they're just gonna go all over you.
Right.
So you have to really be on top.
But it takes everybody being at the table.
Yeah,
so it
the
takes
parents.
my teacher to be at the table, it takes the parent to be at the table, and it takes the student to be at the table.
Right.
And I'll tell anybody, we've had some of the most challenging students. As long as everybody stay at the table, then we can work through it. But if I see one person get from that table, then I'm going to have to pull back and say, because we can't allow students or parents to be enablers for not seeking the necessary change that you need to be successful as well.
I like that concept, because even as a parent, when my children get in trouble or had to receive some type of discipline, I always try to relate the punishment to the infraction.
Right.
So, for example, coloring on the wall. Well, here's your bucket, here's your scrub brush, clean off the wall. So I love that aspect that you're allowing them to do chores instead of going home and playing video games.
And you got to take we teach our kids that you're in control of your actions. I can't control your actions. The only thing that I can control is the consequence. And we relate that to the real world. So we use storytelling. One of the best things that happened to me when I was raising my son is that when he was going to therapy, one of his therapists told me, he was like, you know what, you need to use the form of storytelling to help relate to him, because he loves stories. And he's a rapper, so story was something that related to him. So, and using that story to teach him his consequences or the expectations, but then tie it to the real world. And so that's what we do at Zeka as well, because I'm not just preparing you to be a first grader or a second grader. We're actually preparing you to go out into the world, and you're going to have to make thousands of choices between kindergarten and 12th grade when you graduate and become an adult. And I want to help impart in you how to think your way through life, so that when you're outside of school, what are the decisions that you're making?
That's good.
Yeah. And
Which is,
storytelling,
go ahead.
storytelling goes, way back to before pen and paper came along. That's how people communicated. That's how you learned, especially in Native American culture. That's still how we do it. It's stories told from the elders and passing it down from generation to generation. So I think it's already ingrained and natural to us to learn from storytelling.
Yes. Which is now, as a lot of schools, they don't do that. They don't really, they help you with the schooling, but they don't prepare you what the real world is offering. And some family, like I tell my children, I love you guys. You guys are special to me. If you guys don't learn right now from here, you go in the world, you think everybody, they look at you as a special. No, it does not work like that. So, that's good you guys doing that. You're preparing for both. And that's what we need.
But everybody being at the table, even the teacher knows the expectations of what's going to be going on. And that's also building relationships with the family.
That's
so when
very
you build
important.
relationships with the family, it seems like you have more positive impact when you build a relationship with the family, which I like that. We know what
trust.
Yes.
That trust is built between the parent and the teacher.
Yeah, I like that. The trust. Again, you guys say that on point. The trust is very important. It's like you're giving people order that people, they don't know you. It's hard for them to take you order. But if you have a relationship with them, you give them a space to trust you, to come to you, to open up to you. So that is important. The parents, all of you guys sit down. Okay, this is what we're gonna do to help for our children. I really like that. I really like that. I listen. I want to open the school. We don't realize that our next generation, that's what's gonna take over. So what we're preparing for them is very important. I know sometimes it's hard. They're dealing with the good and bad. They both want them. Both want us. But which one we want to pick is how you implant our children. That's what they're gonna take. So
even with parenting, because you have so many parents are young, so a lot of times they don't know how to do anything with the children. When you have parents that can't set examples for the kids, that's why I really like the charter school. I went to the public school, but we had people that set examples. I still today, we could not leave our house with hair rollers in our head. My daddy would have a fit in my mom.
Or pajamas.
No, you didn't show up at school like that.
Yeah, with flip flop.
And when you showed up to find out what was going on. You did your research with it. So that relationship back then was built because everybody knew somebody in that school system. But now, a lot of the parents don't want to listen or be respectful. That's why I really like how you said that foundation is really good. Everybody knows what to do.
But I think you have to understand that, everybody comes to the table with the toolbox that they have. And some people have more tools in their box than others. And some people, environment influence them differently from others. So I'm always looking for trying to understand what are you bringing to the table culturally? What are you bringing to the table? What do you have? And where are your gaps? And if I can help fill in your gaps, we'll help fill in your gaps. And then when do I say, you know what, this poverty mindset probably has kicked in a little bit too much and you're not going to move from that. So now let me just focus over here. What can we do with the child so that we can have that, sort of like that's so now what type of thought, So we don't want you to get stuck in the, so what? Now this is what my life is. You can't get stuck there. We got to get you to the now what. So what because of this, now what? Because that's the only thing that's going to keep you moving forward.
And I noticed your school, they have uniforms. So nice. I like the uniform because I think it takes the pressure off whether they don't have somebody
they're going to wear. Yes.
Or what someone has, what someone doesn't have.
Exactly. I'm big to support uniform because grown up in Africa, everybody has uniform wearing because one, they can afford to have new clothes every day. I think it's necessary, even though this is choice, you give child the choice to choose, but not everybody have that choice. It's just being mindful and yeah.
Yeah, the uniform definitely creates an even playing field.
Yeah.
So I can't determine the haves from the have-nots.
Yes.
You know, so it helps to create this environment like we're all the same.
Yes.
We're all in this together. And so now I don't have to worry about, it was a study done, I think it was on 2020, about students being bullied based off their tennis shoes. So you have on the high priced tennis shoes that someone else can't afford. Well, all of mine are in little black, all black. And they don't wear, you know, the fancy tennis shoes and so, but they have them. When we have dress down day, we can see it then. But you know, yeah, the uniforms keep everybody on their
I love uniform.
But then it keeps the bullying at bay too.
Yeah.
Because a lot of kids do get bullied by the way they dress, or you know, if they're not able to take a bath every day because some people don't have water at home. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that come into play. But if they're all coming dressed the same, it's hard to make that determination or that distinction between the children.
Between the also between the kind of rich and poor, because they're all the same now.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. I love that. I want to go back to the dream you got, Stacy. I think dreams are very powerful. You know, Native American culture, they're very powerful, and they're telling you a story and telling you something.
Yes.
So I'm glad you took that dream and talked it over with your mother and wrote it down, because without that, you know, you probably wouldn't be in this position now to make these remarkable life-changing for the children that you currently have at your school.
Yes. Yes, and you know, and the dream was bigger than just Zeka. So the dream is to have, if it all come together, I'm supposed to service kids from birth to 18. So I do have in my long range plans Zeka for Tots, which would be a child care center. And then, you know, we're getting ready to move into Georgetown High Village.
That's good. Connected.
High school. And then it was several schools in different states. You know, so they're not going to just be here. We'll branch out and
spread the love.
Oh, that's you know, when you were speaking about the dream, sometimes do you believe things that has to happen in your life in order for you to expand your gift, your purpose? So you, even though the purpose started with your son, but if your son was not acting the way like that, you might not have Zeka today.
Now that's what Zakari says. So if you was to meet him, he walk in the building now, he calls himself the CEO because he said, you know, without me, none of this is exists.
So do you believe that God was, sometimes he get intention, he knows that he's going to use us, you know, when we're speaking of a spiritual world, regardless what belief system you have. But do you believe that because of Zeka, even though he was your son, if your son was not acting the way he was, you were not seeking for those help. Today, because of you, you're not the only one going through like that, because God is seeing in you, you're the one you can do it. And here, our area, and he used you.
I am definitely a believer that God has given us all gifts and talents.
Yes. Right.
You know, and sometimes if you can live in the present and be intentional, you can identify what your gifts and talents are, and then you will know how to move to get to your purpose. So I definitely chase purpose, and everything that, you know, when you're in that moment, you don't recognize that that's preparing you for your next level or your next thing. So when I look back now, and I'm still learning and growing, but when I take a moment and look back now, I think about, why did I come out of teaching and do those 7 years at Smart Start? When I told people, when I taught 3rd and 4th grade, and then I went from there and I worked in with the state helping low performing schools, and then I left there and went to Smart Start. And when I was going to Smart Start, people were like, "What are you doing? You have your teacher's license, you have your state retirement, you know, why are you going to come out and go into this nonprofit world, working with babies? You don't have to do that." But in those 7 years, I didn't make sense then, but in those 7 years, I learned the nonprofit piece. I learned, you know, what to do with families from birth to 5. And so then But by the time the dream came along, I was already
You were
ready.
prepared.
Right.
You were in the preparation before you
Right.
get
So
to that.
timing is everything.
timing is everything. Timing and overcoming fear.
Okay, and
Because
obedience.
and
Obedience,
Yes,
of
yes.
course.
Yes, that's great. That is
Yes.
So
great.
what challenges does Zeka currently face?
We have a lot of challenges. I think in anything that you do in life, you're gonna always have challenges. And if you don't have a challenge, then something you're not doing right?
Yeah.
Because that's the only way you're gonna get through growth is you gotta go through the pain.
Yes.
You gotta go through the hardships. And that when you're in that wilderness space, that's what's going to help you get to your next level. So I don't like to call them challenges. I'll call them little growth spurts. So
Opportunities.
or opportunities, yes.
Yes.
So the basics that every school district across the nation is dealing with is like teacher shortage,
Yeah.
bus driver shortages. Those are common. That's everywhere. That we're not protected or kept from those types of challenges. But I would say facilities have always been a challenge for us. We have made our spaces work. We're located over in the New River Shopping Center. But being that our vision is to be a school of arts and technology, I have it in my wish and desires that we could have a school built from the ground up with state-of-the-art technology and the spaces to do the arts. Like, having a place to do dance and that kind of stuff. Yeah. So facilities would be our biggest challenge.
Okay.
So how many students do you guys have there now?
I have 101 students right now. I usually average about 169 students. Once we went through COVID, we lost about 50 students because some wanted to go virtual and that kind of thing. And then when those apartments closed down in New River, that had some impact on us as well. And so now we're just trying to help people to understand that we are a free public charter school, because that's another misconception that people have, that we're private and that it's an expense. So we're always working on rebranding and making sure people understand that we're public charter.
So is this do they have to go through enrollment, or
They
is
do.
this like a first come first served basis?
It's a lottery based, so you do have to apply in our lottery, and we're in open enrollment right now. So they can just go to our website and put our lottery application in. We'll do our lottery at the end of April. And then any spots that's left over after the lottery, that's when we go to first come first
I
served.
see.
Okay.
What's your website?
Yeah, website.
www.zekaschoolofthearts.com.
Zeka School of the Arts. Oh, that's great.
Okay. I guess my next question would be the students, if they require transportation, because you mentioned transportation. So do you guys pick them up from anywhere within the city, the county? How does that work?
That's a
for
great
enrollment?
question. So we have one full-size bus, and then we have a small 14-passenger bus. So we tell parents, if you can transport, and then leave transportation for those who absolutely can't transport or don't have access to transportation, simply because we're not a district-based school. So you can live anywhere in North Carolina and go to a charter school. So our one bus is crisscrossing across this.
You got to really
this
plan
county.
that trip out.
Right. And our school day is a little different. So we go to school 4 days a week, from Tuesday to Friday, from 8 to 5. So, imagine if your child is getting on the bus at 5 o'clock and our bus doesn't get back in until 7:30. So if everybody had to be on the bus, we would be out half the night.
Yeah.
And then Mondays are reserved for professional development for teachers.
Okay.
That's good.
That's good. That's good.
You can also help parents that are working from 8 to 5.
Right.
That their kids are there Tuesday through Friday.
Yes.
For 8 to 5, and Mondays is professional development day. And that's every Monday. And that's awesome. That gives the teachers a chance to
Just by themselves.
I think they need that teacher really, like I don't know how
So do
they.
you have principalship, and you have like everything in your school, the principal and all that as well?
So, I am currently, I don't like to call myself the principal though. I like to call myself the founder. Yes, I'm the founder. But I do have a master's in School of Administration, so I sit in that role founder, superintendent, and principal. As our numbers increase, though, it is my desire to put a principal in there so I can move on out and do some other things. But yes, we have, I have a data manager and social worker, and my finance director, that's my admin team, and a culture consultant. That's my admin team. And then we have about 9 teachers. And then the kids get, for enhancements this year, or encore classes this year, they get art and hip-hop and general music.
Okay.
Well, your drumline did a good job on Sunday evening. I got a chance to watch them at an event that we was at, and they did an amazing job. I really like when your drumline teacher talked about his desire when he became the drumline instructor, because he says either follow Malcolm X or Martin Luther King. I like that part. And his mom told him to follow Martin Luther King.
Right.
But he did a good job to show that drumline, that piece, and to see the excitement in the youth when they did the drumline. That was awesome. That was definitely kudos.
It's intentional for you to see the culture throughout our staff and throughout our facility. That's something that we grew into. When I first opened, we opened thinking we were going to be just offering arts and technology, and kids was going to be coming to us who were good with the arts or good with technology. And then I found that I got kids that were more like my son, that they were not having good experiences in other locations, and they were being labeled and written off. And so we had to sort of change our focus a little bit. We still do the arts, that's important for us, and technology is still important for us, but we had to figure out, what are we going to do with this population of children who are typically in larger settings? Probably the child that's sitting in the back of the room, disengaged, head down, not really doing the things that's supposed to be done. So I had to take the staff through a series of training on, one, how to work with challenging groups. We changed our curriculum because we wanted to make sure that every child that walked in the door, whether you're black, brown, purple, or green, no matter what your culture is, that is reflected back to you through how and what you learn. Yes. Because now it has to be relevant to you in order for you to take an interest in it. Yeah. So we had to make a few changes, but it's working for us.
Yeah, it sounded like it was needed, because now you identified something they weren't getting somewhere else, and you adapted to it. I love that aspect of it. But you mentioned your professional day for your teachers, and you have this book that says, "Honey, you can't make this stuff up." So it's an inside look at how teachers' mental health affect the classroom.
Yes.
And I know Fatia touched on a little bit that they still have their own lives. They got stuff going on. And a lot of times they might project on a child in the classroom. But tell me a little bit about this book here, because I'm all about the mental health, especially now.
Okay,
I think
so all
it's
of
getting
my
the
books,
attention it deserves now.
Okay, so all of my books are like journals to me, right? So I didn't bring you 2, but each phase of my life, when I feel like I'm full and I need to release, I release through a book. So when I wrote that book, let's see, typically in the teacher professional development series, whether when you're in school learning to become a teacher and so forth, you're taught to not talk about certain things. Like you're taught, not just teachers, other professions have this too. If you're a nurse, doctor, whenever you're in any field that relates to serving people, you're taught to place your own self and leave it at the door when you walk into work, so that you can come in and be something else for someone else, right? And so what I've learned over time is that it's sort of taboo to talk about the teacher's mental health in schools. That we can talk about the mental health for kids and parents all day long, but when I got to talk about my mental health as a teacher, it's like it's expected in many settings. I'm supposed to leave that at the front door when I walk in. But what I learned is that you're coming in with your whole self. You're coming in, and you might, if you don't have gas in your car that day, or if your money funny and you don't have money for lunch, you're bringing that right on in my building.
Right.
And now, if you're in an unhappy space, or if you're having a mental space, if you're going through a divorce, or if your husband is not whatever that can be bringing those life issues, life happens, right? You're bringing that right on in the classroom. And if you come in my environment and your stuff ain't worked out, when my kids is bringing their issues in, y'all gonna be in there boiling over. And it's just gonna be a big old mess, right?
Yeah.
So I learned that we needed to, one, make it not taboo to say, you know what, life is life for me right now. I can't let you rest in it though. I need to, I want to create that space that's open if you need to talk about it. We can give you support for it. We can do all of that. But I don't want you to labor in your emotions.
Right.
So I don't want you to come in and take off what's really going on with you and put on this happy face mask. And you're over here acting happy when you're really not. And now you're falling apart. And you're burning out, and you're mad, and because you know what you're gonna do,
everything behind the door.
But while you're acting and you're emotionally laboring in your emotions, is what I call it. Now, when the one thing happens, you're gonna blame me. You're gonna blame the job. You know why?
Yeah.
Because that's the easier thing to blame. You can't go home and just walk away from your life.
Right.
So you'll find the smallest thing that was happening in the workforce and say it's because of that. When really it isn't. It's because something within you hasn't been flushed out, worked out, or in balance. So you got to stay balanced, right?
That's
So-
good, Stacey.
Yeah, and I think
You're a
that
strong
goes
woman.
for anybody in a
And,
workplace. That's good
Right.
advice
Any-
to take. But especially when you're dealing with children, I think there's probably nothing worse than an adult who's in a bad space in mind and taking it out on a child.
Right.
Because they have no recourse. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to take that emotion. So.
And taking it out on the child and not even intentionally and haven't even related that that's what I'm doing. It's just that natural thing that's happening and you're blaming the child.
Right.
Yeah, so I think mental health is important, and you can best believe I'm going to read this.
Yes.
So that particular
you.
book tells some of the stories, which led me to creating safe spaces. So creating safe spaces, that's when I started learning. Oh, how am I missing this? And then that's when I came across the laboring in emotions. And I'm like, you know, that is true. We are designed to come in and smile and say, hey, hi, everything is good. We become actors.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, okay, but I want you to be able to express your emotions. I want kids, I want everybody around me to have healthy emotional intelligence, right? Be mad, but let's come talk about it. Be happy, but let's come talk about it. If you don't like something, let's talk about it. Now, every time we talk about it, I can't make the change that you think I should be able to make because, you know, the lenses are different at each level. The lens that a teacher wears is different from the lens that a principal wears, is different from the lens that a superintendent wears.
Yeah.
And if you're not aware of those different lenses, you'll look at it and say, well, you should be able to do this because that's through your lens. But you might not know the pieces of the puzzle that they have that will prevent them from doing such a thing. So I like to have those conversations so that we're not laboring in our emotions. And I did some other things with creating safe spaces. Like we have a reset room where we have 2 massage chairs and so you can go in the room and sit and have the aromatherapy and just sit in the massage, turn the lights out. We put some treadmills and bicycles in the school,
good.
so you can come and do that because we're there from 8 to 5. We're about to add a few more things, like we're gonna add a greenhouse in the back with flowers and stuff, so teachers can go out and get sun because we don't have the natural lights and so forth. And the hardest thing when the staff come in and they have these things, like I'm like, you got to go use them though. But you know how many people are afraid to go use them because they're thinking, well, how am I just going there on the clock and sit down and be in the massage chair? So it takes a while to convince them.
It's okay.
That it's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah. And I think that's something in the workforce altogether that we need to change that perception of it. 'Cause mental health is
very
important. And even, you know, when you're talking about the sunlight, just vitamin D
Yes.
alone, a lot of women lack vitamin D.
Yes.
And it's just 10 minutes out in the sun that you need.
Yes.
So definitely, if you can't be out in the sun, at least take some vitamin D to help balance you out.
Yeah.
But I think that's a fabulous idea that you're doing.
Yes,
I
I'm
wish
glad-
more people do that.
You just say what I was trying to say. I'm glad you're doing that because people expect you to be robot. Like you are principal, they expect you to carry yourself and professional, but you're a human being. You have feelings and your feelings can get hurt. You can upset. But to have that, what you are doing for not only for your program but for others is very important. We are not robot. We are people. Okay. Even robot when it's not in the it doesn't have charger, like it's gone. So we have to have that to keep moving. We have to talk about it, like you say. We just respectfully express how we feeling, and hopefully that a lot of school they will give that for teacher opportunity to be human being, and and also parents to teach. Let's teach our children when they go to school. Really, like that's an extra thing that they have to deal with. Yeah.
I like that safe space stuff, because a lot of times people don't feel like they're safe to talk or to show their emotion, to ask for help, because of the safety, vulnerability.
And that all comes from the culture of the workplace, and I think Stacy's establishing a really good work culture there. And you can tell when you go into businesses, who's got a good work culture or good environment for their employees, and some that don't. You can definitely notice it.
Do you have a lot of turnover?
Yes, we do. We experience turnover. I won't say it's a lot, but we do experience turnover because, I always say I'm in a high trauma situation. So our kids require a lot, and you have to bring a lot of you to the table. And if you're not balanced, it can burn you out. So yes, I would say just like every other school, we are faced with turnover as well. And we spend a lot of time, and that's why we are continuing to grow, and adding. We are constantly, my admin team, we're constantly sitting back and thinking, all right, what this happened? What can we do to make an adjustment to that? And then, sometimes, gotta be honest too, you gotta have the right people that's built for working with the population you serve. A lot of people say, oh, I want to work with at-risk populations, but then when they truly come in and they have an at-risk population, it's like, I want at risk, but did I want it like this? Right. So it's about finding the right people to be on your bus too. And I'm the type of person, when you come in and we're training you, we're giving you the tools, we're giving you the resource, you still have that professional choice to use it or not. And if I find that I have a situation that's not working well for my population, I don't mind saying maybe this isn't the best setting for you. And I'm okay with someone saying that to me too, because my biggest responsibility is to make sure that what we're doing is for the forward progression of children.
That's good. So how did you shift in 2020 when everything shut down with your children?
We went home like everyone else first, and then we built in, we made all of our classrooms conference rooms. We put polycenter up in all of the classrooms, and so our students, when we had to do that hybrid where students were home and we had students in the building, we still stayed online all day because the students at home could see, it had a 360 view of the classroom. So we have the capability, if we ever have to close down again and you're home and you get on Zoom, you can see the whole entire classroom and the teacher's talking, walking around, teaching like normal, and the camera is following, they can see the chalkboard and everything. So it's just like being conferenced in. And they were but see, for us, it was important because I knew that we had the population that I could not say, take this packet and go home and do this packet, because you may be home by yourself, or you may be home with a sibling, or you may be home with a parent who didn't understand the math. So that was going to be a huge learning loss for you. So I had to create the situation where I was able to put my classroom in your living room. And now my teacher stayed online. We shortened the day. We went from 8:30 to 3, but that teacher was online just like the regular day. It was like a regular day for us, and kids were in.
So did you provide laptops or pads for the children? Okay.
Yeah, so we're a one-to-one school, so everybody had laptops. We had hotspots for students who didn't have the internet at home. And
that's good.
That's awesome. Really awesome. So some kids didn't have it. I know in the public school they didn't. Some of them didn't have that hotspot because our church opened up the doors for some kids just to come because we had internet services. That's awesome.
Yep, and I know a lot of students, this is where they found out that did their homework at McDonald's, for example, or used a Wi-Fi that was accessible, but once they closed those down, they weren't able to do that. So a lot of them weren't able to do homework.
Yeah, we put hotspots in places. We trained parents. We were like, okay, we need you to find a corner in the house. We don't want to see all that's going on in the house. So we do a lot of professional development for parents as well. So.
Okay.
Yeah, and like last year we did a parent summit. So we did a session all day, and we open it up to the community as well. So parents can come in, and we had different speakers and topics and stuff like that. So we offer parent trainings as well.
Oh, wow. I love that concept.
That's awesome.
And the wellness conference, I forgot that. We put on a wellness conference for our teachers last year as well. We took them down to Myrtle Beach, and that was open to other people as well. And we brought in presenters, and they did yoga and sound bowl meditation, and then they learned how to work with different settings with like trauma situations in the classroom and so forth. So we got another retreat coming up this year. I just got a grant for, so
That's good.
we don't have the date yet, but we're gonna squeeze in another teacher wellness retreat.
Yes.
Awesome.
That's
And when you allow it open to the public, so it's open to anyone, not, you don't even gotta be affiliate with.
We opened
That's
it
awesome.
up, and they had to pay a fee. It was free for our teachers, and then we charged like $300 for the other teachers, but it was a 3-day conference, and they included your food and everything, and we had presenters come in from Detroit and different places like that. So
that's what I'm talking about, that work environment, that culture you're establishing.
Continuing
Stacey, you are
education.
amazing, absolutely amazing. I'm so glad that you follow that. What God has
I was
shown
gonna
you
say,
to do.
I just do what he tells me.
Yeah.
I'm just obedient.
Yeah.
I'm nobody.
It's such a pleasure when you're just obedient. Balancing from within. A 40-day journal to success.
Yeah, so that one, that's when I was moving into that phase of my life where I was learning that, okay, Stacey, you got a lot going on. So we need to start being intentional. We need to start mapping out things that we want to do. So that 40-day journal is basically just saying you can do anything you want within a 40-day period if you are dedicated and disciplined. So the journal just came along as a way to help keep you in the presence, keep you disciplined, keep you from, like I think I have in here. Can you open up to the first page? I think it has like a things to do list, right? So I don't call it like things to do. Yes. So it'll tell you how to this page right here tells you how to use the journal. Yes.
It's very common.
Yes, but so it's like today's intentions. Like we wake up every day and we do a things to do list, right? Knowing that things to do list is huge. And you're not gonna do everything that's on it. So I always say, write your things to do list, but then look at it and say, what are the 3 to 4 things that's my intention for today, and put it in your today's intention.
I
right?
like this.
And
Daily
you
affirmation.
gotta have those daily affirmations. You need, if you're not waking up, like when I wake up in the morning, I play Mary J. Blige songs. Good morning, gorgeous. Good morning, gorgeous. Yeah, so you gotta affirm yourself.
Is this the first book that you have to publish?
No, this is one of my latest ones.
I see.
My first book, I didn't bring the first one. The first one was Building an Empire from the Ground Up. That's where I told the story of my son and how I started in school. But yeah, so only thing this is going to do is going to make sure that you put in some self-care for the day. Make sure you do one thing for yourself. What are you thankful for today? You got to show gratitude. We don't think that we got to get to the end of something before we can be thankful for it, right? Like I'm thankful for today, just this moment. For somebody, one new person just heard my story and learned something new about what God has done for people, right? So you got to be grateful for stuff as well.
This is great. Yeah, I love the quote you got there. All great achievements require time.
Yes, yes. And write your
Today's
story.
Hydration.
Yes.
Yep.
Drink
Check
some
out
water.
how many cups.
Drink some water and controlling your story. A lot of times people don't think we have stories. Like everybody have a story.
Everybody.
So everybody. So write your story down every day.
I think we take it for granted, things that's been given to us as free, is our mental, our body, and all that. And it's very important to have the reminder that that come first for us to take care of ourselves, to do even others. And I have one question for you. What are the future hopes, goal of Zika for the next generation?
So we've been doing a lot of stuff at Zeka to disrupt what we call the school to prison pipeline. So from changing our curriculum, because we want kids not to be tracked to go to alternative schools or to be criminalized for behaviors that they can be taught. Because behaviors are taught. You don't come here innately knowing how to behave in different situations. So we want to make sure that we're continuing to improve the behaviors of the students that we touch. We want to continue to make sure that we are making sure our curriculum and the things that we teach are inclusive of everybody. Because, the thing that's not commonly spoken in education is that when the system of education was created years ago, certain populations of people were not included in that system. So if you were enslaved, or if you were, any student of color, the system of education was not created for you. You wasn't even able to learn, right? So now we have to make sure that we're going in and we're changing those systems and now being more inclusive. So changing the curriculum, I want to continue to do that work from that social justice standpoint for teaching kids how to be able to work in a diverse world.
Be innovative every time.
Yes.
And put them in fields that they're normally not perceived to be able to go into.
Right.
When you talk about the scientists, the engineers, the mathematics. I mean, we got brilliant children.
Brilliant.
Just
Like
don't
the
have
STEM,
opportunity.
STEM.
Yeah.
Because
Gaming is an amazing career. And I'm like, gaming? But that's an amazing career that a lot of people don't look at. Tell us a little bit about the high school that's going to be coming. And then also tell us how we can donate towards the high school.
Okay, so Georgetown High, a village-minded academy. It's going to be a private trade school. So the idea is we've seen a decrease over the years with trades. Like we had this period where everybody was being told that you needed to go to college, you needed to go to the university, and now we have all these people with all these degrees and they can't even get jobs, and you can't even find a plumber. Or HVAC person or so forth.
A roofer.
Well, even after Hurricane Florence, our community was hit hard for that. There was no one to do those trade jobs.
Exactly. And the trade jobs you can make
a good living.
You make a good living off of
Yes,
that.
I went to school on the back of a janitor. So I think we decided, I have a partner with this, Life Dean is my partner, and we decided that we wanted to create that space where we would bring the highlight back to the trade and start debunking some of those stereotypes that a trade is bad. Because trade is not, everybody is not designed to go to a four-year university. But at Georgetown High, a village-minded academy, you'll have the option to do both. So we're striving to get the accreditations like in cosmetology or barbering or digital marketing, and you'll leave with your diploma and accreditation so that you can go straight from high school into a job, or you can go off to college if you like to get further your education as well. But that's our
that's a good program.
Really good. How can we donate? Because I know that you're if they want to donate to help with this project, how can they go about donating?
So we have two things going on. We have a pledge process going on that I can send out. That a sheet for as we are going through the renovations of our facility. If you have someone that you want the cosmetology department to be named after you can make a pledge to that. We also have a QR code that I can put up on my Facebook page that you can just make a Zelle donation for both Zecca and Georgetown High.
Okay, well, we'll make
so
a
when you
note
said
to change that.
That they can have the college cosmetology school named after, I just believe that all Miss Jan Reed students that went to Chabot School up here back in the days when she started, she has, they can definitely need to donate because she turned out a lot of students that went to her school. So all her students need to come together and donate money to make this cosmetologist thing go to keep her name going on forever because that's amazing to me. And I'm listening that you're different. I'm on Zoom listening. When y'all talk about the school and the different things that's affecting, it's so much information out there. It's exciting to me to hear that Georgetown name will continue on as well. That's just amazing. How do y'all think to do that?
So, I'm from Georgetown, the community. So I grew up in Georgetown. Part of my childhood, I grew up in New River. So this is the full circle of it. So when my mother and father, they're from the Georgetown community. They moved off to Philadelphia. When they had me, we came back. My mom lived in New River with us for a little bit, like 2 blocks from where the school is located right now. And then we ended up going back to some family land and staying in Georgetown. So as I grew up in Georgetown, I had the wonderful opportunity to hear my family members talk about their experiences of the old Georgetown High. For me, I brought that to the table because of the fact that I'm from that area, and I could stand on my mother's porch right now and look at where their location of the school was. So it was more about a community thing for me. And then my partner, he's all about village minded. It takes a village, you know, and he'll tell you quick that if we don't do right by children, they'll burn down the village. And so for him, he's always been about being village minded. So we just took the two aspects of us, my history of being from Georgetown community and his beliefs in the village minded thought process, and we put it together, and that's how we came.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
So I definitely want to mention, because we're talking about trades, and there's so many scholarships for people going to a 2-year or 4-year, you know, getting a degree, but there's not so many scholarships out there for people going for a trade. So if there's any local organizations out there, please consider a scholarship for residents who want to take on a trade, because as we know, the trades seem to be diminishing, or children going into those fields.
And we've been telling parents, you know, don't just rule out a location because it's private, because so many resources and changes have happened to help with being able to afford private schools as a school of choice. So you got the North Carolina Opportunities Grant. That's federal monies that you just go in and apply for, and you can get up to like $6,000 for the year to put towards your tuition and books and so forth. And then we're looking for community members who want to offer apprenticeships, because these students would need to go out and be able to do their service and practice their trade before they graduate. So we're still in the spaces of building all of that.
And that's a good way for our community to give back.
And also keep the children away from being, if they don't go to college, they just go do things, whatever they want to do. If they have those opportunities, they continue their education, you know. So really, this is good.
Well, we had a great discussion. Thank you, Stacy, for joining us. Yes, just give her a round of applause.
Thank you, guys.
Amazing.
Yeah, very
This
good.
is what I call
information.
hidden gem.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Heroes right there.
Just hiding over in New
Definitely.
York.
Happy to have you.
Definitely pick up her books. You can
Yes.
read more. Follow her on Facebook. Next week we will be having a mother on the show that lost 2 sons, one to homicide and the other to substance abuse. So definitely going to be a heavy topic next week. Join us, same time, same location. Thank you guys for joining us. Stacy, you're fabulous. Great in the community. Thank you for joining us. Any last words?
If you want more tips on how to live a balanced life, catch me every Tuesday on the Black Star Network on the show A Balanced Life with Dr. Jacqueline Martin Hood.
And it's
Hood
awesome
Martin.
because I am listening in. I need that help. But it is awesome.
Yes.
Wonderful.
I need to tune in.
Hey, and also get this Balancing from Within, a 40-day journey to success.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is this on Amazon or anywhere? that
All
you
of
can
them are
purchase?
on Amazon.
All of them are
yes.
on Amazon.
Yes. Or you can stop by the school. And come by the school and take a tour.
I would like to. There you go.
I
Yeah.
would like to.
Yes.
Let's do that.
Yep.
Better yet, bring your book to the school, and I'm sure Stacy
I'll
wouldn't
sign it
mind
for you.
signing it.
Thank you. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
At L'Amour Media Versatility, we aim to provide comprehensive solutions to our clients. We have a team of experienced professionals who can help you with every aspect of your media needs. From documentation and marketing to promotion and more, we provide our clients with top-notch quality services. We understand that each client is unique and has specific needs. That's why our team works closely with you to understand your company and event goals and objectives. We are committed to providing the highest quality services in media and strive to exceed our clients' expectations. Our team is passionate about helping you reach your goals and making sure you get the best experience and results. If you're looking for a reliable business to help you with all your media needs, look no further than L'Amour Media Versatility. Contact us today to get started at 252-497-3817 or at www.lamore-photos.com.